hear that?
Made up movies, made up movies.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Made up movies, made up movies. Yeah. Made up movies. Movies in your face now. Come and get an earful. Made up movies, made up movies. Hello and welcome to Made Up Movies. I'm Matt Shore. With me is this guy. I know him from high school. It's Mike Kohler.
Kolar, you know my name. You've known me since high school. You just said it.
You said it weird once, though, so now I'm not sure. It's Kolar.
I'm
correct?
not necessarily sure. It's Kolar.
Kolar.
It's a hard,
like a cologne.
hard AR.
It's a hard AR. Okay. Not touching that one. So I had a bit of a day today. I wanted to go to Burger King to relive my ball pit experience from last week's episode. I wanted to go in there and dive around and try to find a lighter, but the Burger King caught on fire, and so it's apparently permanently closed, I guess. And so I drove to...
How did it catch on fire? Do you think it was the lighter?
It was probably the lighter. I shouldn't have put it back. Oh my God, they finally found it. Some kid playing in the ball pit burned it down. So last week I told the story of how I was playing in a ball pit as a child and found a lighter in the ball pit. We're surmising now this may be the cause of the fire, the real fire at the Burger King. Let's not go into it. I'm sure everyone's safe. I hope nobody died or that no terrorists.
It could have been that thing where those kids are putting buckets of ice into the fryer as like a viral TikTok.
Oh,
thing.
and then
That's
they take the dry ice huffing and put it up their butt, and it's like butt chugging.
No. If you have like a fry basket full of ice and you put it in the fryer, it really fucks up your fryer. Like it overflows and causes just a major.
Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's cool, but it's also like super dangerous. I mean, the videos are funny. They're just insane.
They're doing them at restaurants where they work?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, it could just been one person, but
this is the right time
to be
like
fucking
with people's food. I think like this is the right time for a friend. So anyway,
well, that's like fucking with a restaurant. Like you're going to go to jail because you're literally burning down a restaurant.
Property damage right there. It's like everyone's short-staffed. They're like running around trying to find meals, like me, trying to produce quality content for.
He just wants
masses.
to eat. He just wants to eat people. Trying to get that food inside of him.
I just want to eat people. No comment.
Hey, that might be a solution to both of our problems.
A final solution, in a way.
Yep.
Maybe phrasing on that one. Not sure.
Soylent Green.
Yeah, I have never seen that movie, to be honest. But
Well, it's a good thing we're reviewing it today.
No! I don't want to watch it. It's too scary. I've been playing too much Phasmophobia. I'm scared already.
It's just people. That's the end.
Yeah, I know the ending, thanks to like The Simpsons and everything.
It's like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, apparently it's really boring up to that point. And also the original book, that was not the case. They added that for the movie. It was just like plants.
Oh, it doesn't even say that it's people?
No, that wasn't the twist in the book. Anyway, spoilers for that. Should have prefaced that, I guess. Who cares? Who cares?
40-year-old movie.
So anyway, this is Made Up Movies. We are two great movie reviewers. We're professional movie reviewers. We talk about movies that people probably haven't seen, and we judge whether you should see them or not. We get suggestions from our audience about which movies to watch. This week's movie comes from Scott Mercer. It's a movie that is called Chimp Patrol. It's a comedy, sort of, from the 1980s about a loose cannon cop who's punished to being sent to the worst precinct in the city, which is crewed by a team of misfits, including a chimp. One of them is a chimp who solves crimes. It's a little complicated, but yeah. I just want to say, because I was running around doing the BK thing, I did not get a chance to watch Joker today, so I'm in a little out of sorts. But okay. I hope that won't.
But you watched Chimp Patrol, correct?
I did watch Chimp Patrol. Great. I remember it almost too vividly.
Great, good. Well, then we're good to go.
Yes, we can discuss Chimp Patrol. So Chimp Patrol is like sort of like Beverly Hills Cop style 80s movie, but it's not as funny or successful. I'm pretty sure this was a wide release. You've got sort of like a wannabe Steve Guttenberg type as your.
See, I thought it was like a Turner and Hooch thing, but Tom Hanks is so likable.
Oh, you're right, but this main guy is not very likable.
No, he's not. He's like you said.
His name is Greg, Officer Greg, and he's like, actually, it's like Detective Greg. I don't know. He had some
Starfield.
Greg
Starfield.
Yeah. So Greg Starfield is basically like this loose cannon cop. I guess he's kind of like the movie has like a Gutenberg, Beverly Hills Cop. What's that? Police Academy kind of vibe to it.
Police Academy,
but it's like a failed version of that. It just oscillates weirdly between tones. So basically. Detective Greg Starfield is like this loose cannon. He's sort of like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon, where he plays by his own set of rules. And he gets into trouble in this opening sequence that's like sort of like our last movie. It's a hostage situation.
Right.
And so he's like got to get into this building. And it's basically like you've got these like school children. Right? They're like on a field trip or something.
Sure.
And like Starfield has to get in there and like save. Well, I don't know if he has to get in there, but he definitely makes the decision to get in there. Everyone else is like, we got to take.
Well, he plays by his own rules.
Yeah.
He doesn't. It gets one of the kids killed, which is like
that's a weird thing for a
super
comedy.
Dark.
It starts off with. Like, you don't really expect it, but basically Starfield, like, busts in the building, and he's trying to, like, take out the bad guys, these criminals who have these kids hostage. But one of the kids, the bad guys, like the crooks, just takes the kid and just tosses him straight out the window.
Right.
He just tosses
him.
him.
It's like that thing where you need the loose cannon cop, they always killed a kid. Well, this time you actually see him sort of not really kill the kid, though.
Right.
Like, it's his fault.
It's definitely his fault because everyone else is outside. They're trying to negotiate with the crooks. They're like, hey, we can get you what you want, It doesn't have to be like this. Just send one kid out. And then Detective Starfield busts in, and he's playing
by his own rules.
He's like, give me the kids right now. Give me the kids right now. He just keeps saying it over and over. Give me the kids right now. Now. He's got this weird voice.
Yeah, he has a weird. Is it like northern Pennsylvania? It's sort of like the I think mayor of Easttown almost.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's mayor of Easttown, but it's a very.
He's got
I don't know if it's intentional
nasal
either.
A and E sound. He's like
Well, because it's in New York City supposedly, but it's not necessarily
like. I thought it was in San Francisco that whole time. It's got
what?
It definitely was not shot. In New York City, was it?
It says. Are you sure? It says New York City cop.
Right. But the city they shot it in was like it's got to be like Detroit or Toronto doubling for New York. I didn't think it was I thought they just painted cop cars or something. Because the city did not have a very New York vibe to it. I don't know.
No, I didn't think so either. But he kept calling. But it says
he's a New York cop. He's in the movie. He's definitely a
Greg
New York
Starfield, disgraced New York cop, is sent to the worst. But it doesn't have any other information words.
I'm just saying it didn't resemble New York to me. I would not be surprised if they shot it in like Pittsburgh or Cleveland, and we're just
Cleveland. It's Cleveland.
You're
right.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's explained. He does have sort of a Cleveland accent of just like, hey, give me the kids. Come on. No, you ain't going to do that, are you? And so, yeah, he does have that Cleveland. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's like Cleveland's Steve Gutenberg. And that's like the whole vibe of this.
Is that a compliment, though?
I don't see what part of that could be a compliment. Like Cleveland or Steve Gutenberg? Which of those is the one that you're getting?
Why didn't they just make it in Cleveland? Why does it have to be in? I don't understand this.
Because if you put Cleveland in danger, nobody cares what happens.
Oh,
it's
so they
literally the mistake by the lake is our nickname.
So they just made it. They just say, it's New York. You're fine.
They're just like, it's New York.
There's no Empire State Building. There's no World Trade Centers, but you're in New York.
Well, it's also like, I mean, we do have a world-class zoo in Cleveland, and I'm wondering if they didn't want that kind of heat. They're like, because there is this big thing with like the zoo later in this movie and zoo animals in general, because there's a chimp in this movie, we alluded to it, it's called Chimp Patrol, and the chimp does fall in love with a sexy lady chimp at the zoo, and there's like a little bit of a love sequence there, and there's some haywire at the zoo, like a giraffe and a zebra do get horribly injured in this movie. So I don't know if Cleveland would want that. Whereas New York, it's like the whole city's a zoo, right? So you can really take.
I mean, that's what they say about New York. It's a zoo out there.
Well, it's just like my favorite baseball player, John Rocker, used to say. About the people on the subway.
John
in New York.
Rocker?
Yeah, he'd be like, "Oh, it's these purple-haired people with their pronouns. It makes me want to spit and be sick. I feel like I'm becoming the Joker." He said something to that.
All right.
But then he killed a bunch of dudes who were like Wall Street guys on the train, which the Wayne's Corporation is the ones who made it, and that was their contribution.
I thought, and I hoped that we would not talk about Joker this week. I thought that we were not talking about Joker this week.
Getting some perspective from Joker really helps me appreciate Joker.
I just don't know if it even necessarily applies.
It does in a way, because hostages, school buses, Dark Knight, Heat, Joker.
Going back to what you said about not Joker.
So this kid gets tossed out the window. I think that's
no, the animal thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like I don't know if PETA existed back then.
I think it did. Or PETA's an 80s thing, right?
Sure, but it's not like, I feel like these animals did not seem well treated.
No,
I don't know if that's
they were definitely 80s movie animals when they were treated as like, this is like the age of SeaWorld. This was like,
it's like, oh, look how nice it is to see this animal, but then it's like behind the scenes they're like doing blow with the chimp.
I would not be, and it's like they used every part of the animal. I feel like that zebra was craft services later. Someone's just like rotating.
Oh yeah. It's basically a horse. Leg. You can eat it. Why not?
Are you suggesting you can eat horse?
I'm saying in the 80s, man, anything goes.
Look, I know you're a Chicago guy now. You're a Chicago guy. You
get a horse dog. You gotta have the sport peppers on it.
I got the Maxwell's horse right
here. Did
you
put... Maxwell Street's good. Maxwell Street is good.
This is the original deep dish zebra style. You gotta try it.
Did you say zebra style? Yeah, zebra style. Eat it.
Is my pizza supposed to have a hoof in it? Yeah, it's traditional. That's the crust.
Chicago style. Eat it, you fucking piece of shit.
Why is he bullying me into eating it so hard? He paid, I guess.
Eat it. It's the Chicago way, dude.
I guess. So anyway, Detective Greg Starfield is on the case. He gets into trouble because he gets that kid thrown out the window, and they make like a big deal of it being like to make you sure, because normally in like a movie it'd be like the kid lands on a bunch of mattresses in a dumpster, lands in like Lake Erie, scenic Lake Erie, or I guess the Hudson.
He's fine.
But in this movie you just hear this sickening crunch, and there's like a slight blood splatter on a lady nearby who goes in for like a Sam Raimi style close-up shot.
It's kind of scary, and
And then there's like a dog pulling at the kid's leg, and he's got like the sneaker in his mouth, and he runs away. And you can't tell if it's supposed to be over the top funny or if it's just inappropriate. But Greg Starfield's looking out the window, and he's like, "Fuck." And he's just like, "You fucking did this, you fucking did." Then he just goes haywire and starts murdering all the people.
Yeah, he shoots all the hostages.
He's like, well, he doesn't shoot the hostages because they're those little kids.
No, the hostage takers.
That's what I said. The hostage takers. He shoots the crooks. And he shoots the cooks because I've still got Unhappy Meal on my mind is the problem.
Yeah.
But anyway, he basically, he saves the rest of the kids, but he got one killed. He gets into that cliched scene with like the Sipowicz style like chief.
Give me your badge.
Give me your badge and gun. He's like, you're a menace. He's like, hey, I got results, didn't I? I got the job done, hostages. Didn't I? This isn't just what you want, you chief. And basically he gets demoted, sort of. He's not a detective anymore. He's going to be a street walking the beat cop. He's going to be a streetwalker, I think is what they call that kind
Street
of cop.
walking the beat cop in the worst precinct in town.
Yeah.
Which is just a wacky factory of character.
Yeah, exactly. The tone changes as soon as he gets there. He like opens the door and someone shoots a Nerf gun and it almost hits him in the head. And he's like, "Hey, you made me miss." And like they've got like a dartboard, but it's like a sexy like Cindy Crawford style lady pinned to the dartboard.
It looks like the interior of like Animal House too. It's like, is this a frat house or is it a police station?
And
it's
it
like,
does have that sort of like wonky Zydeco music to it. And it's just sort of like, oh, anything can happen here. And he's got like his friend Tucker, who's like is like Officer Tucker. He's like, "Hey, I'm your partner, man. I'm Tucker." And like he's gonna be like showing him around this place. And they've got Michelle, who's like the pretty lady cop, who's also a patrol woman, who all the guys in the office have a crush on and they flirt with, basically sexually harassed by
sexually
modern
harassed
standards.
the entire time. And she takes it with just a smile.
You. You guys, what a bunch of knuckleheads.
Looking at my bottom.
Stop
Wacky.
that. Hey, Michelle, can you make us a few more copies of that report?
Yeah. They're talking about her bottom.
There's a guy, there's the African-American cop whose name is Southie for some reason.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily.
Which seems like a Philly thing.
Yeah. It's a Boston thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
As from Southie.
So,
but
but he doesn't have like any Boston things to him.
No.
He's just like, in fact, he doesn't have any discernible strangeness in his accent whatsoever. He's just named Southie, I think, to give him more character. But he's always like razzing her. He's like, hey, oh, I dropped my pen over there. You want? And there's sort of like a running gag where he's like, that lady has a juicy butt.
He's essentially
like,
just doing a bad Eddie Murphy impression the entire time.
Yeah, but he's like not even over the top with it. He's just sort of just like, it's like written for a wackier guy, but they just got somebody.
Yeah, they just found the first black guy they could.
They're like, okay, he kind of looks like Eddie Murphy or Richard Pryor. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's the 80s. Yeah, it's fine.
It doesn't matter. It's the 80s.
Throw him in there.
Do some coke.
It's so easy to make a movie in the 80s.
Yeah, I know. And so like those are like the main guys. And there's also another lady who works there, Nancy, who's like the more nerdy secretary lady.
I always have that character.
Like, yeah, she's got like frizzy hair and like red glasses, and she's just like chewing gum and answering phones, kind of like Ghostbusters lady a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And basically, her job is to her like side job is also to take care of the precinct's mascot, which is this chimpanzee who they've got in like a cage in one of the offices that they don't use. And they tell Greg Starfield, it's like, yep, you're sharing an office with this guy. This is it's not Bozo, it's Kojo. So
yeah.
Kojo is the name of the chimp. It's like, so Kojo is their like, I forget what the justification for that name is. He's like, he's our codependent jockey. It's Kojo.
It didn't really make sense.
No, it's like some sort of like throwaway line that they go through, but just for whatever reason they call him Kojo. Not Cujo, but Kojo.
I think maybe that's what it was. Cujo was out at the same time, so maybe that was part of it.
Oh, maybe that's, because the book was already out at that point. So like 87. So basically, there's like, you got to share. So it's like, I guess it's a Turner and Hooch type thing where it's like, you got to share this office with a wacky chimp.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you kidding me? How am I supposed to get any work done with banana breath over here?
Yeah.
And, he says it more like, banana breath. How do you get it?
And then Kojo gives like those puppy dog eyes, and you go, oh. Yeah.
It was. I kind of like the chimp. I feel bad for her. They said that there were like 2 or 3 chimps that they used in the credits.
Oh yeah, you could tell because they changed sizes kind of. Like it was never like one was really small and the other one was like kind of even had silver hair. It was like definitely 3 different chimps. that
Yeah,
played
one
Kojo.
was like older and it looked like it had a graying beard almost.
And sometimes they just clearly used like cutaway shots of a chimp when.
Yeah, at one point they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" in one of those zoo scenes, and it's just clearly a forest shot.
Yeah,
from, like, a nature
it's just documentary footage.
He's like, "Hey, what are you doing over there in that other enclosure?" They like try to justify it, but it's just clearly a shot from a nature documentary.
Yeah.
And it's like, "Hey, what are you doing now? Don't climb that tree that they put in here." They keep like fitting these things into lines to make it make sense, but it's just like it was really weird. But anyway, so they're like.
But his job is essentially to clean up this precinct, right? That's what he's sent there to do.
I guess I thought he was just there as punishment because they never get anything done.
Right. But I guess like his boss wants him to like maybe like if he cleans it up, then you can come back to your old job.
Oh yeah, because he gives him some snide line as he's walking out the door. He's like, "Yeah, if you can, it's New York, right? If you can make it there, you'll make it anywhere."
Yeah, it's like, but you're here already. You're already in New York, you psychopath.
Yeah, so it didn't make total sense. You're already in New York, in this different district. And you're in a different borough,
and you didn't make it here.
And also, you're shooting in Cleveland, so it's like it's not.
And you killed a kid, so.
And you killed a kid, so you should really be off the force. So, if anything, this is really a message from Black Lives Matter for today of like, basically the fact that these cops can get away with anything, right? I mean,
I think basically if they kill a kid and then kill a bunch of hostage takers and play by their own rules. The worst that can happen is they'll get sent to another precinct, which is like, and it'll be like a pretty fun precinct.
Yeah, pretty fun precinct. Hey, you get a slightly less high intensity job with 2 sexy dames and a wacky
monkey
animal mascot
as your pet. It's pretty cool. It's not so bad.
Anything goes here. It seems like you don't play by the rules. So instead of giving you more structure, we're giving you even less.
It doesn't. It doesn't track. But it was supposed to work.
Detective Greg Starfield, he considers himself to be like the top cop though, who can do anything, which they never really show.
Well, it's like he is. It comes because the first scene is he comes in and you're already in the hostage situation. So he's just like the audience is just supposed. Yeah, he's just supposed to buy that he's the best though. Like I don't know.
So the only thing we know about him is that he sucks.
Yeah,
he pretty much sucks. The thing is that his buddy Tucker basically is like, "Hey, I remember you. You're the guy that solved the big such and such case. All those murders. Wow, you're a real hotshot." And so he calls him hotshot throughout the rest of the movie. But like, it's we don't see anything, and that old plot line doesn't really come up again.
Yeah, there's no Hans Gruber figure coming back from his past or anything. It's just like. Yeah.
The main thing from this movie is it's like the main case is like it's a diamond heist.
Right.
But it's also like diamonds and animals because they use animals to smuggle the items.
It's sort of like, I mean, it's similar to Snakes on a Plane almost.
Yeah, it is, but there's no snakes or planes.
Right. So like maybe it's not similar at all.
It's picture Snakes on a Plane without the 2 main things you know about it.
Yeah.
And you'll have
There it is.
And also Samuel L. Jackson isn't in this. And
he should have been. He could have made it better.
Even that level of charisma in the movie. So basically, there's like this big car crash in the center, in their precinct, just sort of at random.
Right.
Well, I guess it's not because there's the banana scene, right? So it's kind of his fault again. It's kind of Starfield's fault again because he's trying to get some work done. He's like, "Hey, I'm trying to complete my transfer paperwork here, and this monkey's throwing stuff all over the office." Yes. And so he's like, "Oh, you like bananas, huh?" He opens up the cage, and he opens up the window, and he's like, "Go fetch!" And so he throws a banana out the window. I'm just putting this together now. You'd think he'd be more sensitive about getting like child-sized creatures out a window.
It's not.
But he's worried about his next impulse. His next impulse is to get this chimp to jump out a window.
He's just trying to get some work done.
He throws the chimp's banana out the window. The chimp dives out the window and is loose in New York City, and it starts hopping on car hoods and going crazy.
That footage was insane, by the way. Like I don't know how. I don't know if they just let a chimp loose in Cleveland.
Blurry faces there. I don't think they got any
permission, right?
Yeah, I think the chimp actually did get loose, and they're like, get a camera down there, we've got a movie.
Yeah.
Like, I think they retroactively worked back.
They found chimp footage from Cleveland, and then they used that.
No, I think it was still their negligence that caused one of their chimp act. They're like, we've got a cop movie in here, and it'll have something to do with animals smuggling diamonds. Let's get the chimp crate. Who opened the chimp crate?
Yeah.
I think this whole banana situation was based off what really happened.
They're just writing the movie off the cuff as they go. It's like, well, we got a loose cannon cop and fucking...
Bryan Singer style. Well,
the Police Academy is popular. They made 9 of them. We can do this. We got this.
Yeah, don't tell me those movies weren't written.
Yeah, exactly. But they had
okay, I'm going to write down each individual sound effect that you make with your mouth.
Nah, I imagine said wacky sound effect makes wacky sound effect.
There was also that point where they did try to make Southie also do. It was just like they were just trying to take things that other black actors had done in other movies, and they were like, okay, they had him make some sound effects at one point, but it didn't there was no cohesive way of putting it in there. They're like at the zoo, and he's like bippy whippy boopy. He's just like reading them, and it was like weird. Not making the noises.
Woohoo! 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 It was very strange.
Siren.
Well, I don't think it was that bad, but yeah, basically that was what he said.
Close.
It was pretty bad.
Basically. Yeah. Noise of washing machine.
Southie, could you do it a little? Could you actually make the noise when it says?
I was not trained in the theater for that kind of thing.
Okay, Southie. Well, we'll just. That's fine.
I don't know why I made him sound Georgian there.
Because he's Southie. He's Southie.
He's from the South. I'd like some molasses, please.
All right. Well, now this is getting.
It's getting me doing Ed Helms on The Office.
yeah, it is. That would have been a good character.
No. So basically, the chimp gets loose. It causes this
pile up,
16
huge
car pile up. Yeah. But it just so happens that since this is right outside the precinct, there's this truck that is being used to smuggle diamonds. And a bunch of diamonds spill out on the street, and this crook who's driving the truck gets out and he starts scooping up the diamonds. The chimp sees the diamonds, and he goes literally apeshit, and he starts grabbing them. So then the crook and the chimp start fighting, and the chimp literally jumps on, bites his ear. He goes, ah!
Yeah, again,
I think it was a puppet at that point.
I think it was definitely a puppet at that point. But again, what happened before that to make the chimp so angry?
Yeah, there are a lot of shots that are clearly in Cleveland of the
chimp being pissed off, right about to rip a fucking face
slapping
off.
people, and in between cuts, the windshield of one of the cars gets a little bit murky, and it's like, oh, what did he do that they didn't want to show on that windshield?
But what happens is, he fights it, and he essentially fucking
the crook. The crook is getting attacked by the chimp.
Yeah.
The cops run outside, pry the chimp off of... it's like that thing where Tucker runs outside and he's like, oh, my poor baby, Kojo. And he grabs the chimp, and the chimp's suddenly completely docile. It's like a different chimp.
Yeah, it was clearly
a different chimp. It's literally a different chimp. And so he's holding the chimp, and they're like, Starfield's like, where'd all these diamonds come from? Where are these diamonds? Diamonds! You keep saying diamonds weird. Diamonds!
You're saying it in a weird way,
Jerry Lee
Southie.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Southie's like, I'm going to take this perp inside.
Yeah.
And so they're out there looking at diamonds, and they do this push-in shot of both of them holding up a big diamond. It's like, I think we got ourselves a case.
Yeah. But then,
all they needed was a magnifying glass.
Yeah, it's and that's clearly the biggest, most important diamond, which Kojo then snatches and runs.
Oh, that's right.
All the way to the zoo to give it to his monkey girlfriend. It doesn't make any. It's
Is that what was happening?
Yes.
So you think Kojo was doing that with intent?
Yes.
I thought he was just grabbing it because he just was messing with them or something.
No, he wanted to propose to his monkey girlfriend. I thought that was clear.
That's insane.
Yeah.
They wanted a monkey marriage in this movie?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
He brings the giant monkey to the diamond. Bleh, excuse me. He brings the giant diamond to the monkey girlfriend. What's her name? Cucho?
I don't know what the...
Does she even have a name?
I don't know if she... I think she does. I think it's like something
I thought it was like a girl version of his name, but maybe it's... I don't remember.
Really? No. Oh my God. I know it was on the sign. I was not paying attention. But anyway, Starfield and Michelle and Tucker hop in the car and they chase after Kojo, and he's going to go to the zoo. And then we cut to this scene of like the villains who are like there's this this like the mysterious villain who's like in this room, and he's like, "What happened to the diamond shipment?" Yeah. And he's like, "Boss, something happened."
You're not gonna believe what happened, boss.
You know that precinct that has a chimp? Well, they got involved.
He just does. Like, he knows the precinct that has a chimp.
Of course. Everyone in this town, New York City, knows that precinct with the chimp. Chimp Patrol, they call them. And he's like, he calls the guy into his office who's giving him this information. And then he like chokes him, but he does it in a way where he's grabbing the guy by the throat and he's pushing his head under his desk. So it kind of looks like he's murdering him and also forcing the guy to go down on him a little bit.
Could be both. You never know.
It could be both.
It's the 80s, man.
So we don't know who the villain is. He's like the Godfather in shadow. So we don't really know who he is. So anyway, we're off to the zoo, and Kojo is trying to propose, I guess. I've just discovered that.
What did you think he was doing? He was giving her the diamond.
I just thought he was like going somewhere to hide, went to a place that had chimps in it because he felt comfortable, and then saw the sexy chimp. Because that's the part that doesn't make sense to me. Because he sees her, and they make it like he's seeing her for the first time.
No, he's always known. Yeah, I guess it is the first time we've seen her, but it seems like he's known her.
They do this thing where it's from his perspective, and they do like heart eyes all around and play like sexy.
All right, so maybe it was an off the cuff proposal. Maybe it wasn't planned, but whatever reason, he took that diamond for some reason.
That's the thing I don't get. Is like. Was he just gonna take it and use it as a bartering tool for any lady he could get?
Whatever he comes across, as long as he's on that damn precinct.
I can't get chips, I'll go for a gorilla, orangutan, whatever. I gotta get laid.
It's a big diamond. Chimp. It's a big, nice diamond.
I'm surrounded by humans all day. I'm horny as hell. I gotta get.
Every time I jack off, I get yelled at, and I'm a monkey. It's what I do.
It's what I do. I try to pee in my own mouth like a proper chimp does every day. People think it's hilarious.
I wish he did.
But they get mad. I'm squirting on The Office.
You know what? All right. Him having a voice would have made this movie a million times better.
If he was voiced by Danny DeVito, imagine how good this movie would be.
And only the audience could hear him.
Here I am, just trying to get laid. And these schmucks come in here and got a roll in it.
Yeah, 2020 or 2020. What year is it? 2022. Danny DeVito, not old Danny DeVito.
Not classic Taxi Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Frank Reynolds, Danny DeVito.
Frank Reynolds, Danny DeVito. Hey, I'm just trying to steal diamonds over here. Come on. I don't know why I sound like Fry's boss from Futurama. Hey, pizza going out. Come on. And that's how you win the game. You stink, loser. I'm just going to quote that from now on.
I like
my
it.
Jam. So they go to the zoo and they bust in and Starfield hops the turnstile. Michelle follows him and Tucker is left buying their tickets for entry fee because they don't want to seem like they're...
Tucker's like that classic guy who's like does his job but is in the wrong precinct and just lives his life. You know, he does his job. He's good at it.
He's a goofball, but he's also like sort of a goody two shoes. Yeah, you know,
he's just like a good guy.
So Starfield rushes to the chimp enclosure where it looks like Kojo's about to get down on bended knee, I guess, for his girlfriend.
He's going to propose to her with a giant diamond.
And the other chimps don't look that interested. I mean, the one that they say is like a sex... Like, they're putting filters on the camera and making it pink and hearty and stuff. But it's not clear that the actual chimp has any real romantic interest.
It could have been... It could have been just another... It could have just been Kojo. It could have just been him from another angle.
Like, it could just be one funkin' monkey in a mirror, okay?
Fucking monkey in a mirror.
We didn't have the budget for all these extra monkeys. Are you crazy?
We spent the budget all on real diamonds.
Yeah. But we had cubic zirconias already. No. I want real diamonds.
It has to be authentic.
It's a Hollywood movie.
We're in New York City.
Cleveland. We're in Cleveland.
No.
We got this whole movie is sponsored by Zales. All right. We could have gotten Danny DeVito to do the voice if you hadn't gone all in on the Zales deal.
Nothing else.
So Kojo's trying to propose. The other Chimps don't seem to be having it. It looks like he's gonna get in a fight. And Starfield, I don't know why. I think because he just isn't friends with the monkey.
Right. It's a Turner Hoot situation, but they are not pals.
They are not pals, and they haven't bonded yet before all this action is taking place. And so he pulls his gun on the monkey, and she's like, "Stop!" And she whacks his hand, Michelle does, and then he fires, and it shoots into the back of the enclosure. All the apes go crazy. Kojo, in a fright, throws the diamond up in the air, and it lands in a crocodile pit.
Yeah.
So then these crocodiles are getting towards it, and there's like some zoo guide who's like, "Okay, who wants to see how we feed the crocodiles?" and
I like
he's
that guy.
Like,
that guy was fun.
"Who wants to see how we feed
Just
the
really
crocodiles?"
chewing the scenery.
Yeah, right. This is my big C, and he's dangling the meat over the edge. He's like, "Oh, it's not gonna be. Oh, you think you might take my fingers off?" And the crocs are getting ever closer to the diamond, and we're supposed to care about the diamond a lot, even though that we just saw a ton of diamonds. It's like this is just one of them.
It was slightly bigger than the other diamonds, I guess. I don't.
Right.
Know.
I don't know, but anyway, it becomes this thing. Where Starfield is trying to jump into the crocodile enclosure, and Michelle's like, "Don't! You'll get eaten whole!"
Yeah,
which doesn't make sense either.
He'd rip a crocodile would rip his leg off.
Yeah, twist to do its thing.
Do a little death spin.
Yeah, death spin. I know. We both know what crocodiles do.
We know what crocodiles do. We know how they kill.
We are croc experts. We're not just film critics. We are croc experts.
There's two things we know.
It's movies and reptiles.
And three,
if
you count Joker for you.
It doesn't have snakes on it. Oh, my God. Since you brought it up.
I did not. I was just mentioning it in passing.
I would like to talk about Killer Croc and how he might be used in a Joker sequel. Now, Killer Croc is quite the buff man, correct? Now,
I don't care.
Imagine. Fine. You brought it up. I'm just saying.
I just said Joker. I will never say it again.
Oh, Joker. Now we're talking about a movie I can respect. Okay, so first off, scene 1 of Joker. He's like doing stand-up. Sex always funny? And then it's just like blammo, straight through the skull. You know, on old De Niro's face. Spoilers for Joker. What we're saying?
He's in the crocodile pit.
And he's in the croc pit. He's in the pit, and he's trying to grab the diamond, and the croc snaps at him, and so he shoots the croc in the face, in front of all the school children. He's just traumatizing people left and right.
He's ruining children's lives, is what he's doing.
A kid lets go of their balloons. They go flying in the air. He shoots the croc, grabs the diamond. He's splattered with croc blood, and he climbs back out, and he's like, "Got it." And about that point, it's weird because I couldn't tell what Michelle's take on him was. She seemed like she was like a little impressed that he was so brave, but at the same time, she looked like the actress looked concerned that he shot a crocodile.
Yeah, it was a little. I mean, it's like you shoot a crocodile, so that's kind of badass, but also it wasn't like you sort of went into its home to shoot it. It's not like
it's in captivity.
It's in captivity. It's not threatening. They feed it meat all day long.
They could have probably got a net and just scooped it out with a pool skimmer,
right?
Or like I don't know.
It just seemed
made it puke it up when
unnecessary.
it was. Yeah, I don't know why I would want to eat that anyway. It doesn't make sense. But so they're like, we did it. And then Tucker runs up and he's like, "Oh, great, you got it. But wait, where's Kojo?"
Yeah.
And then they cut to Kojo is literally, I don't know how they got this shot, but he's literally on the back of a giraffe.
Yeah, he's
climbing up its neck.
And he's
like,
yeah, he's crazy. And then
it's a little weird, and it's like I can't tell if they tried to do this at a zoo or again it's some weird like nature.
Well, it was zoomed.
It
was zoomed in a ton, so I think it might have been like a fake giraffe neck.
Yeah, that makes sense. They did a
fake
good job
giraffe
with that, 'cause
neck,
they fooled me.
real monkey, real giraffe, fake monkey.
Viewer.
They used two shots for that.
Okay, so it's like a big stuffed animal giraffe, and then they cut to the wide shot, or maybe they got it to jump on it once.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, who knows?
Thank God. We sprayed banana spray on its back, and do chimps like bananas? Is that something that's real?
Yeah, but then there's just shots, then there's just a bunch of shots of all the chimps releasing all the cages. You can see it's just chimp hands.
Oh yeah, for whatever reason, somehow all the chimps got out or scared by the gunshot or something.
Well, I think it was supposed to be implied that the bullet that Starfield shot like broke the enclosure somehow. Yeah,
that makes total. I mean, it doesn't make sense because this movie's bullshit. But it makes like for this movie, I get where. So the bullet released the chimps. I guess,
yeah. It released. I think it broke the lock on the chimp cage.
They all get out, and then they're all trying to ride animals. I guess to be like their hero Kojo. I would assume.
He's the king of the monkeys.
So basically, the Kojo's on this giraffe, and they're. It's
a real Jumanji situation.
Yes, it really is. And Tucker's like, "Would you get down there, you knucklehead? Hey, wait, you got to give him something he loves." And they go to a chocolate banana stand with nuts, and they're like, "Hey, how'd you like a bite of these nuts?" That's what Tucker says.
Yeah.
And he's like, and Starfield's like, "Oh, brother, this guy." And then Kojo jumps down, but now all the animals are getting loose. And suddenly they cut to footage that's clearly like stock footage of a rhinoceros charging.
Yeah.
And then they cut to Michelle screaming and like frozen in fear. And that's when Starfield fires a bullet. And then we have footage of it looks like just someone in the wild poaching a rhinoceros, and it just gets shot. And
it was kind of sad because it was clearly real footage, and it's just a dead rhinoceros.
It was like, I don't know if this is true, but I swear to God that when there's like a little bit of extra in that shot, like they didn't cut it correctly, and I'm pretty sure it's one of Trump's sons holding the gun.
In 87?
Yeah. I think he's like 14. They get started early. It's New York, right?
No, it's Cleveland.
Well, I mean, it could be either in this case, you know.
I'm going to look up
sure
how old Eric Trump is.
I think it's Eric Trump. Or it's Don Jr. I'm not 100%. Allegedly, Eric Trump shoots the rhino
Eric
in
Trump
real life.
Eric Trump would have been 3 years old. So it couldn't have been him.
Well, how old is Don Jr.?
Let's find out.
I'll wait.
He's 44. So it could have been him. It depends if he was.
I told you. It was him. It was him. Which one's the really handsome one that you always say, oh, that one's, they're all bad, but that one I could really get him.
Oh, the one I was like, oh yeah, that guy.
What a stud! You always say.
Yeah, he's like cocaine handsome. That's Don Jr.
Yeah.
Cocaine handsome.
Yeah. So anyway, that's like that. Killing the rhino sort of ends that sequence, and then this is one of the weirdest leaps of logic in the movie that I don't quite understand. So they're like leaving this sequence, and they're like, sorry about all the animals we shot. It's such a weird situation.
Yeah.
And he's like, sorry about all the animals we shot. And one of the zoo guys is like, no big deal. It happens all the time here. Is there any, can we help you clean them up or drag them away or anything? And the guy's like, no. Don't worry. This happens all the time. We got a guy for this. This is New York City. This is the biggest zoo in the center of New York. It's unclear how they got to the zoo so fast. It does not look like it's in the center of the city anymore.
I think that line is actually what he says. Like they mention how much it's New York all the time. To drive home the fact
just to point out that even if you don't think it looks like New York, it definitely is. So
does that taxi say Cleveland taxi?
No.
It's
That's
lost.
Just the way we roll in New York.
It's a tourist.
So they're like, can we help you with this? And he's the zoo guy is like, no, we got a guy for that. So the cops walk away back to the car with Kojo, and then the zoo guy gets on the horn with his walkie-talkie, and he's just like, "Hey, boss, I think I got a lead on some of those missing diamonds."
Yeah, the zookeeper's
and then it cuts back to
it.
the zookeepers are in on it. Like, apparently, the bad guys have, like, this wide-sweeping crime syndicate that includes some zookeepers, which I guess makes sense later because there are animals involved in the smuggling. There's, like, a parrot who's, like, trained to grab diamonds, which is, like, in a big, like, comedy action sequence later in this, like, I don't know what kind of building it is. It's, like, sort of like a warehouse. Like, I guess it's, like, a bad guy abandoned warehouse, sort of.
It's probably the Goodyear blimp factory.
In New York, right?
In New York. The Goodyear blimp factory.
Here we are at Firestone Tires Incorporated in good old New York City.
Yeah.
Let's go to an Arrows game after this in New York.
New York Arrows. New York Akron
New York
Arrows.
Arrows. Go Mets. I mean Arrows. I mean Mets.
We're bad at this.
So they... but anyway, yeah, there's a parrot later, and we'll get to that. That's not important right now. So they go back, and now they're getting dressed down by their new sergeant, who's like, he's like very Rick Moranis-y, and he's like, I don't, guys, I know we try to have fun here, but
he has no authority at all. He is laughed at. Yeah,
it's like, I know we're all excited, but you got to take better care of Kojo, you know, and you don't want him to... Kojo! And they look over, and Kojo's photocopying his ape butt on the photocopier.
Again, a wacky sequence in an insanely violent movie.
Right. Oh, it's super violent. Like, you got to remember, every time one of these animals gets hit, it's like... It's as if they packed a real pelt with squibs. And it's just like...
It's Tarantino-y almost, the violence.
Yeah, because, and I think that's supposed to be funny. I think it's supposed to be like horror movie,
over the top,
like, I guess. But it's unclear because the tone oscillates so much, and it's like, well, it feels like it's a PG movie based on premise. But then it's like really violent.
It's just a wacky, funny comedy. No,
I think that's why it got buried, I guess. Yeah. Basically they get dressed down by their new chief or whatever, or sergeant, I guess is what it would be, but like or it's a chief, I don't know, I don't really know.
I'm not familiar with cop hierarchy.
I have to like think of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's how far off. I'm like, well, how did it work on Brooklyn Nine-Nine? That's real. And so basically this guy is like, this is how they get away with everything, is they have this like really weak dude in charge. And so Southie's there, and he's like, wow, seems like you guys really screwed the pooch on this one, and not in the fun way. But we don't really know what he means by
that.
Yeah, he says awooga at least once. But I feel like you gave it more verve than he does. Oh, yeah,
I gave it a little too much emphasis.
Yeah, I feel like you gave a proper line read of it. And he would hear that and take it in and be like, awooga.
Awoogo.
Southie. So Linda is like, or I'm sorry,
Linda,
not Linda, Nancy, the nerdy lady who's like her secretary. She's like cleaning up. She's like pulls him off the copier and like cleaning him up. She's like, oh, there's blood all over his fur. You guys are real idiots. I can't believe they let you still be cops. And then she like trips and throws the monkey, and it lands on Michelle's hair, and Michelle starts screaming, and all the guys start laughing at her. And the chief's like, see, this is why you get in trouble. And that's when Starfield's like, I've had enough. I'm the top cop in this city. I don't deserve to be here with you schmucks. And he storms out. And then he goes to like a local dive bar to like drink away his sorrows.
Classic loose cannon cop behavior.
Right. And as he's going into the bar, some guy in like a trench coat, like a shady guy, follows him in. And Tucker's like, oh, I'll go have a talk with him. So he meets up with Starfield in the bar, but while they're there, it's like a really stupid, like Muppet movie sequence almost. It's like the bartender is like, oh, Starfield asks for some specific drink. He's like, haven't had that kind of vermouth in a long time. Let me go to the back and check. So he goes to the back, and then in the back, the shady guy chokes out the bartender, and he comes back. He's like, I'm the new bartender. He had to go.
Yeah, it's very strange.
I got you this. Yeah, here's that drink you wanted. And Starfield's like, I'm not sure about this, but he drinks it anyway. And then he starts choking. It's clear he was poisoned, and this is like one of these guys who works for this crime syndicate guy who's trying to kill the cop. Although I don't know how that's going to help get the diamonds back, really, but they're just taking it out on Starfield, I guess. And so Tucker shows up, and he's like, "What's going on? What's up?" And Starfield's like, he's like, "What? Sound it out! Sound it out! Are we doing charades?" And it's like Starfield's dying, and Tucker is like trying to get him to explain.
And who comes to his rescue?
Yeah, it's the chimp. The chimp runs inside, and I don't know how he got out of the precinct or followed at that point. Again, maybe they didn't close the window.
They didn't close the window. It's hot. It's hot in New York City. Hot
New York City. Hot town, summer in the city. And Cleveland. And the chimp jumps on his back and like slaps him, and he spits the poison out as if it hadn't, like he was choking on.
As if that's how poison works.
Yeah. He spits the poison out. It splats into like a mirror or something, and the trenchcoat guy's like, curses, foiled again, or some shit. And he's like, I guess I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. And I thought that meant he would pull out a gun, but he pulls out a throwing star for some reason.
That's the old-fashioned way, I guess, yeah.
I mean, in China, maybe. I think. I don't know.
He could have been Chinese.
Or is that Japanese? I don't know.
He could have been
Japanese.
Oh, boy.
He throws the star, and the chimp catches it and throws it back.
It's awesome.
And it hits him right in the forehead, and he just dies. And they both look at Kojo, and they're like, way to go, buddy. And so then, since they're alone in a bar that doesn't have a bartender anymore, they just get drunk with the chimp. And suddenly that's how they start bonding.
That's how they're friends. Yep.
And then the ladies in Southie are back at the office, and they're like, hey, where did those knuckleheads get down to? And suddenly they all come down, and it becomes a big party.
Yeah.
And they're all like dancing around holding diamonds. They're like, diamond party! And this is like their police academy moment or something. I don't know really what's going on.
Animal House Police Academy. It's some guy was wearing a toga. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, some guy, like Southie has a tie, his like work tie around his head, like a bandana. Yeah. It's like really silly. And
there's a donkey, I think, that comes in.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Where did the donkey come from? It's not like a Mexican-themed bar, and even if it was, that wouldn't make sense.
I think it's just like, it's supposed to be like those frat house, like, good time vibes, which was like...
I guess. Okay, so while they're having this crazy party in the bar, some more of the henchmen of the bad guy sneak in, and they steal all the diamonds from the lockup.
They just, I don't know why they brought the diamonds to the. Just not a good way to take care of your evidence or your diamonds, which I guess you were going to spend.
No, yeah.
I don't know.
So they take the diamonds and they run away, and then the next morning everyone wakes up in the office and they're like hungover, and they're like, "Where are the diamonds?" And they start freaking out. Nancy's like running around, throwing paperwork, looking for the diamonds, weeping. Everyone's freaking out. Oh, he screwed up again. Kojo, this is all your fault for some reason. And Kojo looks like, what, me?
And then he throws up the biggest diamond. It's like, oh, okay, well, there's one.
Oh, there we got one of them.
We got the big one.
There we go.
It was in the monkey's mouth.
Kojo, you genius. Don't you see? He was keeping it safe for us. He still wants to be a part of this team. Do you, Starfield? And Starfield's like, I guess. We got to get those diamonds back. Hey, wait a minute. And then that's when the parrot comes in, because they find a feather in the office. Like a red
I don't know how that... They find that, and it's like, your office is a fucking mess. How is this point... How is this what triggers you?
Well, because they know a parrot feather, unless Kojo ate it.
I'm just saying, their office is a pigsty. It's like, it doesn't... It's fine.
Well, it gets a little bit weirder than that, because they end up following a trail of feathers. Just like randomly discarded feathers around New York City, which you'd think would be pretty windy. Like they should have been discarded. But
it's not Chicago over here. Come on.
It's Cleveland, the windish city. And so they're following these feathers down the street. These like carefully placed feathers that have been glued to the sidewalk by some PA, and they go feather by feather into this old factory on the outskirts of New York City. From the center of, I don't even know where they are.
Fucking Jersey, that's where they're at.
So they walk all the way to Jersey following these feathers, and they find the diamond smuggling operation where there's like parrots and like smaller monkeys and like not Kojo style like big apes, but like capuchin little Ace Venturi monkeys.
Yeah.
And like there's like, I feel like iguanas and stuff like in cages. I don't know how they play in.
They borrowed a lot of stuff from the local pet store for this shot.
Or the zoo, which because the bad guys work with the zoo guys, I guess.
Oh, that's true.
And
I guess
they're like, yeah, these animals are part of our animal and jewel smuggling operation. That's what one of the crooks says, and that's when like they jump in.
Just tell them what you're doing. Why don't you fucking crook?
They're like, I mean, they're talking amongst themselves. It's like just before the cops.
I love my jewel smuggling. And animal operation.
They're like, yeah, that basically is what they is. They're just like exposition goons. They're just like standing there being like, isn't it nice that we're here on
Being
my
a
daughter's
criminal is all I
birthday
know,
doing
and I love it."
this jewel smuggling with all these animals? What help us smuggle stuff? Hey, watch this. Hey, Polly, get over here. And he holds up a diamond, and the parrot grabs the diamond out of his hand and takes it to a box across the room. He's like, with moves like that, we can speed up production 3%. And
Polly goes, Polly, want a cracker? Yeah, it's great.
And he's like, Polly, want a diamond. Now that's a rock. You know?
Yeah.
So, you saw it. I mean, I don't know.
I saw it. It's fun. Yeah, it's a great movie. I saw the movie.
So basically the cops show up, they start shooting up the place, they start shooting these people, they shoot Polly, it explodes, feathers everywhere. Kojo starts fighting with one of the monkeys over some diamonds, and that's when the big boss shows up, and he finally reveals himself, and they're like, holy shit! And Starfield's like, I know you! Wait, this all makes sense! You're James K., founder of K Jewelers! And it becomes this thing where it's like, because the movie was financed by Zales, the whole thing is just an indictment of K Jewelers. It's like a really weird thing.
I thought it was Dr. K, but it was supposed to be K Jewelers.
I thought it was like K-A-Y, like K Jewelers.
I
thought that was the whole thing. I thought they were trying to imply that like
K Jewelers is a criminal front.
Okay. On the IMDb, it says Dr. just the letter K. But I thought the whole thing was like, because Zales financed it or something, that they were trying to make their competitors, K Jewelers, look bad or create some sort of
I can see
connotation there.
Yeah.
So was it not? Did you not get that?
What does IMDb say? I don't know the
There's
answer.
no trivia on this movie. They just say because of this movie, chimps are now held to a higher code of personal ethics. I don't know what that means.
What does that mean? Code of personal.
I guess the chimps have to be trained a certain way. And no, I think they're saying that the handlers are held.
I hope that's what it means. I don't think it's the chimp's fault for doing all these things. It's an animal.
So you're saying that because of what happened on this movie with like the giraffe and stuff, they're punishing chimps?
Chimps can no longer make movies because of how terrible this chimp. This
chimp
is
can
honestly.
I think this has to be a typo on the IMDb.
It has to be.
Like, well, whatever. So Dr. K is like this evil '80s guy with like a ponytail and like a business suit, very like Miami Vice, and he's like, "Yep, it was me all along." And they're like, "Who are you?" And we've never seen you before.
Yeah,
it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
We saw you once in the shadows. And
this movie's like 90 minutes, by the way. It's not like super involved. And they're like, okay, well, whoever you are, you're going down. And so they have this shootout with him. He gets a hold of what's her face, Michelle.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got a gun to her head now. What are you gonna do? And that's when Kojo grabs a vase and smashes him on the head.
Yeah.
And then Michelle kicks him in the balls.
Yeah.
And then all of them heroically, like the entire Chimp Patrol, just unloads a full clip into this guy. Just on
Well,
the
I think
ground.
it was supposed to mirror the first scene where Starfield's like when the kid gets thrown off the edge. It's supposed to mirror that, I believe.
Oh,
but at this time,
you're right. Because that doesn't happen on the ground. They're like, they chase him upstairs into the second floor of the factory.
Yeah.
He's gonna throw her out the window is his plan. And even though these two criminal organizations don't seem to be related, maybe they are. I don't know, but like. The crooks from the beginning, I thought were different from these crooks.
I think they are. I think it's just supposed to be. It's the same situation.
It's poetic.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. He learned to work as a team rather than just play by his own rules. The team just happens to be a monkey.
Oh, right. Instead of running in, he lets Kojo. I mean, how did he communicate that with Kojo? They don't have like a secret signal. That would have made so much sense.
They just know, dude. They just know.
After one night of drinking, I guess.
That's how friendship works.
I mean, it was for us, but I mean, for most people, I don't know. One crazy night, a chimp was involved, and there was a donkey. Oh boy! So anyway, the chimp smashes his head. She kicks him in the balls. He gets pushed out the window instead of the kid and lands on his back. He's all bloodied up. He's not dead yet. They all step outside and they all unload full clips of their guns into him rather than taking him in, rather than letting him face. Because
they used at least 50 squibs for the headshot too. Like,
and he's just like a skeleton.
It's basically that. It's basically RoboCop when they shoot RoboCop. Jesus Christ.
And like, so he's dead, and then the next scene is them celebrating that they got the diamonds back. They solved the case, I guess. Right. I don't know they didn't tie any like shipments or sellers together. I don't know.
But then
I still don't know how the animals came in.
Well, they say it seems to be the end, and then they go, "Wait a minute, where's Kojo?" And they cut to a beach, and Kojo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
yeah. Kojo is on the beach with his lady chimp. And she's
drinking a Mai Tai.
He's drinking a Mai Tai, and she has the giant diamond on her finger.
That's right. It was a long con by Kojo, or at least, or that's like a dream sequence. But before, right? I mean, that's the last shot of the movie. Is Kojo like with the drink sipping from a straw, and like the other chimp has the diamond on her wrist as like because it's so big, it would be too big for her hand, I guess. But like they're like being served by like bikini ladies and it's like, how did they get to the beach? Did they board a plane?
They have a fucking big diamond, dude. They're rich.
But they would have to transact that. No. I'm just saying, in the logic of the movie, if it all took place in New York, I guess they're at the Jersey Shore, maybe, but it looks tropical.
I'm saying they got into a plane with their giant diamond as collateral, and they went to a beach.
As collateral? Well, they are pretty rich. Let's just let them on this flight without paying, even though they are animals.
Yeah,
they're in love.
I mean, you're gonna argue everything else in this movie made sense. Why isn't that?
I'm just saying. It's a weird twist for the last scene. But the only thing you left out was that they, before that happens, before they say "Where's Kojo," they're celebrating as, they're finally not the lamest precinct. They solved this case. And then his old chief from the beginning comes back. He's like, "Hey, because you really turned this place around, you could come back." And he's like, "Nah, I think I'm sticking with the Chimp Patrol."
Yeah.
And they all celebrate and shoot Nerf guns at the old chief. And he's like, "Get out of here.
This place is wacky."
And he like falls down a staircase and probably dies, but it's unclear. But then they're like, "Hey, where's Kojo?" And then they cut. We can't be a Chimp Patrol without our chimp, And like then he's on the beach, and that's Chimp Patrol. Basically.
I think they'll leave it open for. I think they're leaving it open for a sequel, but that probably never happened.
Kojo Goes Bananas, most likely.
I mean, that'd be a great name. I don't see why.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
CP2, Chris Paul 2. I don't know. So that's Chimp Patrol.
What would you rate the movie out of Bananas?
I think it was the most fun movie we watched of the three so far because there was something about the grainy footage and just the single location of Unhappy Meal that made me feel kind of nauseous throughout that. Yeah. I'd also watched like a lot of Joker right beforehand, and I kind of had like a headache.
It was sort of a fever dream for you watching that movie.
I think of the ones we've watched, this would be like I would give this the most bananas of anything. I would give it.
This one was
5
fun to watch.
DK's Golden Bananas. Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah. So we want to thank you for listening. We want to give a special thanks to Scott Mercer for giving us this suggestion. If you'd like to watch Chimp Patrol or draw us a fan art poster of Chimp Patrol, we'd love to see your work. So talk to us on Twitter. We're at Shorster, that's me, and at Mike Kolar, that's him. And yeah, thank you for listening to Made Up Movies, although this movie is completely real. I'm sure you know that. And yeah, have a great rest of your life.